Alrighty, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Best Self Weekly podcast. Today I'm joined with Nicole, and Nicole, I'm looking forward to this. Nicole, how you doing today?
I'm good, Hunter, and you?
I'm good. I'm excited. I'm excited to learn more about, skin health.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
And
what I'm here for.
yes, and just to give a quick little intro about you, Nicole, I know you do a lot, but Nicole's in the health and beauty industry. She's a board certified holistic healthcare
Practitioner.
practitioner. There you go, practitioner.
You got it.
She heals acne naturally, and she reversed her autoimmune disease, and she helps other people with that as well. Anything I missed, Nicole? Can you say that a little bit better?
No, I mean, I think you hit all of the points, but yeah, basically overarching is like holistic beauty and beauty wellness, right? Everything falls under that bucket. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, just to start off, Nicole, tell me a little bit about your journey. How did you end up in this industry? Were you always passionate about it? Like, how did you end up doing this, getting into it?
Yeah, so I started my LLC back during COVID. So that was a time where I was quarantining and like I was doing my corporate job, but I was home alone all the time and I was just trying to figure out like there was in the marketplace, I was just seeing a big shift into organic beauty and holistic beauty. People were starting to uncover that the products that we're buying at the pharmacy or at our local beauty store like Sephora or whatnot actually had products that contain a lot of harmful ingredients like carcinogens, things that are known to cause cancer, endocrine disruptors. Those are hormonal disruptors that can essentially mess up your natural hormonal rhythm. And over time, when you're putting these products on your face and on your skin, it may not seem like a big deal, but it accumulates. It then goes into your pores, into your bloodstream, and over time, it actually can cause a lot of health issues. And the government doesn't regulate that. So that's another thing that I learned. The FDA will not regulate any personal care items. So it's basically up to the consumer to do their research and due diligence in order to know if a product they're using is actually safe to use, which is kind of crazy when I found that out. Like, I can't just trust that I can walk into a grocery store or a pharmacy or a department store. I can't just trust that that product is safe to use. And it will be big, big brand. I'm not going to name names, but it's big brand names, right?
Right.
And we're seeing that with the food industry too. Like, Kellogg's is having a huge PR crisis because they're putting food dyes that cause all sorts of health issues in their food. So consumers are starting to become more aware, and that's creating a demand for more organic and clean products. And
Mm.
so I saw that as an opportunity to open up some sort of clean beauty line. And I started off with the Botanic Beauty Balm, which is a 3-in-1. Like you can use it on your eyes, lips, and cheeks. It has probiotics in it. It has cloudberry. So it has a lot of nutrients. It has things in it that actually help heal the skin versus what people are usually buying are things that are worsening their skin. And now they're stuck in this cycle where now their skin is getting worse and they're having to buy more of the makeup and more of the things to cover it up versus nourishing it, putting things that heal it, like probiotics, for example. We're familiar with that in our gut, but also we have them living on our skin, right? We have good and bad bacteria, and we have to have a balance of the two. And so having products that will put more good bacteria on the skin, that's obviously beneficial and helpful, something that we probably don't think about, right? But um, that's where it all started. And then if we shift into a few years later, I went through a health crisis. That's where I healed my autoimmune condition, became board certified as a health practitioner, and shifted into helping women basically heal themselves and specializing more in acne and skin health.
Okay, that's amazing. There's so much to go over, but I want to start off with this. Okay. We were talking about ingredients
Mhm.
and skin, stuff for skin and also just food, right? And there's so many ingredients that we as consumers have no idea what they are. I mean, off the top of my head, mouthwash and fluoride. I mean, there's so many things. And I have a question for you. because recently I started using this app. It's called Yuka. Now, I love
Yes.
energy drinks. I love sodas.
Mhm.
I like sugar-free sodas, but this app will you scan it and it'll say how healthy it is.
Mhm.
And I didn't realize I had this drink mix I would drink every single day, and it was so unhealthy that didn't even get 1 out of 100. And Diet Cokes get like 20 if I'm not wrong. So that's influenced me so much that these are the only like energy drinks I drink. They're Jocko, they're a 70 for 70. That's still really, really good. But let me ask you this. Are there any apps you can use for skincare products? But
Yes.
I think Yuka might also
Yes.
work for it or
I
no?
have not used yucca. I have been hearing about it though, because I typically will like just buy things and make them from scratch. Like if I'm eating pesto, I'll buy the basil and I'll make the but or I'll just buy organic. But for and sorry, just to circle back to that too, like when you look at a product and if it's a protein bar or whatever it is, if it has more than four ingredients in it, that's usually an indicator that is heavily processed, right? And if something
Mhm.
is heavily processed, it's stripped away from its natural origin so far that it's barely even considered food anymore, right? So
Yeah.
it's such a manufactured artificial thing that you're putting in your body. It's giving you calories essentially, right? Um, so I do try and stay away from things that are overly processed, especially with my health history. Like I try being very clean. But there is Think Dirty for what you're saying. It's an app that you scan it and it'll basically tell you on a scale of 1 through 10 how dirty it is. And the dirtier it is, the more toxic it is. And it'll tell you exactly why it ranked it like that, what ingredients in it could be harmful. It could be that it has a lot of fragrance, that, because fragrances are horrible. It could have skin sensitivity, like this is a high allergen, right? Or a carcinogen, or like I said, an endocrine disruptor. Um, and there's another one called EWG. So between the two of those, you should be able to find most of the products in there. And for any woman, like for example, going to Sephora, now Sephora will mark it clean with a little green leaf. So they have sections where, or if you go on their website, you can literally filter for those products and you start to become more familiar with the brands and then you just trust the brand. Like Kosas is a great brand that I use for makeup and I recommend it to my clients a lot. Um, so yeah.
Okay, so basically, Nicole, you just mentioned makeup. You, because, okay, so you not only help people use the right products to get rid of acne or prevent skin problems, but do you also look over makeup products and make sure like anything to put on
Yeah.
your face, basically you make sure it's good?
Yes. So when I have a client that does a program with me, right, which is my 5 month skin clearing program, they will essentially give me a list of everything that they use, right? Everything that touches their skin, their skincare regimen, and their makeup regimen. And
Hmm.
I do a thorough, sorry, is this dog barking and like, can you hear it or?
Oh, no, 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 I
Okay,
can't hear it
perfect. I guess
at
its microphone is working then.
all.
Um,
Is it off TikTok? Is that the one off TikTok or no?
I got it at Best Buy,
Oh,
so.
okay. I just saw this ad where it was like, buy this thing and you won't hear anything. But anyway, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and that takes me a long time sometimes because some clients will have multiple skin issues, like they'll have rosacea and acne, right? So my protocol for someone with acne versus rosacea are different, and if they have both, now I have to omit a lot of ingredients. It's like this could be acne safe, but it might not be rosacea safe because people with rosacea have highly sensitive skin, and we need to basically like simplify with them a lot. Um, and so, yeah, I do look at everything they use, and for the most part, I think I do have them switch everything out, and I will recommend exactly what they should be using. And then they have messaging support from me, so if they do have an urge to buy something, they'll ask me like, "Hey, can I get this?" Or, "Hey, my skin's really dry, like I need a heavier moisturizer, like what should I get?" And so, yeah, everything is very controlled, like a controlled environment to help assess what we need to do.
Interesting. So basically, like when a client works with you, for if they do 5 months, right? how much of a change do they change in terms of like products? Like do their cabinets end up just being like completely swapped with new things? Or is it just like a couple different things here and there or
I
some
like to, I don't like to overcomplicate people's lives, right? So, um, for a skincare routine, we will have a cleanser, we'll have a serum and a moisturizer, right? So it's like we don't go crazy, but they're high quality items, right? So it's not like they're cheap. Like, yeah, you're gonna probably have to invest in these high quality items. But a lot of the times, like people like to throw a million things on their face, right? And you don't know what's working because you're constantly switching out your products every few months and you're putting a million different things on there. So how would you know what's working? And we don't need a lot of it is internal. So when we're talking about the surface, like we really just want to make sure we're using the right products versus having to use a million products, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. And all right, so I have a question for you. Okay. So if I'm using a moisturizer or some type of sunscreen or tanning oil and it has some very bad ingredients in it, it has like 50 ingredients, a lot of them are bad. What
Mhm.
are the effects? Because for me, I'm thinking long-term game, like maybe one
Mhm.
skin can be like wrinkly, maybe it can become saggy.
Mhm.
Maybe it can trigger like acne. Um, yeah.
It's a long list of bad things that can happen, including everything you just mentioned. Um, I've had I have people that come to me with a lot of people with acne are actually making their acne worse by buying products for acne because the products that market themselves for acne have a lot of benzoyl peroxide. They have a lot of ingredients that are very harsh on the skin. And acne is already an inflammatory condition. And when you're putting a harsh ingredient on an inflamed condition, skin, you're then further torturing and traumatizing your skin, right? And it's the concept is to dry it out and just like punish it and like get rid of it. You're actually hurting it and harming it. It's already in a fragile state. It needs care, nourishment. It needs um, calming, soothing ingredients to reduce the inflammation. And so it infuriates me because a lot of the products that are go-to products in the market, they further worsen people's acne. And when we take out those harsh products, that in and of itself already starts improving their acne, right? And there's a lot to unpack after that, but that's like one of the first things that we have to do.
Interesting. And all right, I was thinking of this because I'm a regular dude. We said this before we got
Mhm.
recording and skin health, I'm not gonna lie to you, isn't like the number one thing I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of like gym over skin health, like all this other stuff, right?
Mhm.
Like
Oh,
supplements
so-
like
And I
protein.
do want to circle back on your self-tanning thing too at some point because I just
Okay,
remembered
I'll
about that.
write that down because I have a lot of questions about that.
Mhm.
It's very, very common. Anyway, so, oh wait, what was I saying? What was I saying? I
So
was saying
you're a regular dude, gym, no skincare or something like that.
I was saying that I don't remember where I was going with it. But anyway, let's circle back to the self-tanner thing.
Okay.
Okay, so with self-tanner, what were you thinking? Because I mean, I've looked at self-tanners and I definitely use some for sure. I'm super white.
Yeah, me
And
too.
I mean, is there a best brand you recommend? How do you feel about them? Should one just get sun instead? Like, what are your thoughts on the self-tanners?
So I did a lot of self-tanning because I'm very white too.
Mhm.
And I didn't want to get like wrinkles. Like I didn't want to go out in the actual sun. And there was like different periods of time. Like there was a period of time where everyone was going out, then everyone was doing the tanning beds, and then everyone was like, no, we're self-tanning. The self tanner has an ingredient in it that is actually like burning your skin. And so that smell, when it smells really bad, like any self tanner you use, they all try and market themselves as like smelling good and they'll put like this mango scent and then it just smells like crap 2 days later. It's because they all have that ingredient that's the smell of your skin burning. So it's if you're trying to avoid like wrinkles and stuff, and you don't have any autoimmune conditions, right? You're like a healthy person, you've never had any health issues. You want to get a nice glow, definitely go towards products that market themselves as clean, or that if you use those apps that will rank under like a 3. And that's fine to do, right? If you do it moderately. What I was doing before I got diagnosed was I didn't know about this. So like I was using these brands that you buy at CVS, like no, known brands, but they were very toxic. And I was using them every week because I didn't want to be pale. And I could actually feel because I had an undiagnosed autoimmune condition I didn't know at the time. Like I just never felt good, right? Like, but I would notice certain things would make me feel worse. And after I would tan, I would feel super run down. And that is because my body was over flooded with chemicals seeping into my whole pores, right? And my body was like trying to like, detox and like take all of this out. And I would feel so drained. And to this day, I still, even if I use a clean self tanner, my body will feel it.
Your body will feel it.
Hmm.
If you use like the healthiest of the healthy
Yeah,
self.
because it still has to go through that process where it's changing all of your skin, right? So it is a stressor on the body. And like I said, it's not the end of the world. If you have a wedding or if you have something to do, it's fine. But use your best judgment, right? Like if you feel like your body reacts fine to it, you want to use a clean organic one, that's fine to do.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay. So the best thing would be is for someone to get one of those apps we talked about and just find the best one and probably use it once in a while, right?
Yeah,
Like definitely not a like everyday type of thing, right? Like it'd be
I
hard
would not recommend that.
for sure. Okay. I kind of think I remember what I was gonna say. I'm just like a regular dude, and what made me realize the importance of skin health and what made me really want to talk about it is just the simple thing of, when you're sick, your skin turns a weird color and people
Mhm.
say you look funny. Like that just goes to show how important skin health is. And if you're not good on the inside, it's going to show on the
Mhm.
outside. And I loved what you said before the call started. You called it, what did you call it?
Our body's alarm system signaling us that something is wrong. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's so true. It's literally an alarm system. And I'd love to hear more what you think about that. Like seriously, because it's so simple, but that made me realize I'm like, okay, like skin health is very important. And I need to,
Yeah.
and if you're glowing, if you feel like you're kind of glowing,
Hmm.
you're on the inside.
Yeah. So with traditional dermatology, right? If we think about the way that it's been treated for acne or rosacea, we'll just stick to those because, like, skin cancer, all that is a totally different thing. But if we're thinking about people suffering with acne and rosacea, traditionally, it has not been treated the right way because it has been treated as a condition in and of itself, right? Instead of looking at it as a symptom of something that is manifesting from inside, right? Like there's an issue inside and now it has manifested on your skin to get your attention that something is not right. And so whenever someone comes to me with acne or rosacea, like we don't do traditional treatment. We do a holistic approach. Like what is going on in your life? Like what stressors do you have? What are you eating? What is your blood work like? Like let's see your levels. What are your nutrient levels like? What are you deficient in? How's your blood sugar? What are you um, like there's just so many things internal that contribute to that. And that's where we have to unpack everything and see what's going on. And then once we start fixing, we do it a whole approach, right? So we're treating the skin with the skincare, but we're also treating the inside to address it at the root level.
That's very interesting. So you focus on finding the root cause, and that can be either, the results found in one's blood work, either because they're not eating a certain way, or maybe they are eating a certain way, or things like that.
It's
Or
usually a combination of things. Some people like it to be so simple, like, oh, I have candida overgrowth, and candida is like a yeast, right? It's like we have things in our body, and sometimes when there's an overgrowth, it can cause like a dysbiosis, like an imbalance, and then we have things manifest like acne because it's a lot more appealing for people to think it's just one thing wrong that we're going to figure out, and once we treat it, my acne's gone. And it's usually like a lot of things. It's like a little perfect storm, right, of things going on.
Can it be like trauma or mental health related and manifestations out to your skin? Is that a thing or no?
Yes and no. So a trauma will change our biochemistry. So we will, if someone is in a survival state and they're constantly releasing cortisol, which is our stress hormone that helps us like fight any kind of physical or mental stressor, then our blood sugar will also spike. And then if your blood sugar spikes, your androgen hormones will also spike. And those hormones cause excess oil on the skin and can cause acne. So it doesn't go from like thought to acne. It goes from thought to this to that to that to acne, if that makes sense.
Okay, okay, interesting. Interesting. And let me ask you this. In terms of soaps, you get like, are there any recommendations that you have for someone or something, an ingredient that someone should look for or avoid in
Um,
like soaps?
like soap that you wash yourself with or for the face?
Um, Maybe both.
Okay. So for soaps that you wash yourself with, I have not stayed loyal to one. Like I switch it up and I typically order my stuff on Amazon because it's very convenient.
Right, right.
Um, so Kosa's has a soap that I enjoy using. It smells really good. It doesn't last long. It's like a shower gel basically. But anything natural, like if you want to like buy a natural bar of soap that's like handmade or whatever, like you can do that. If you scan it on the app, like I said, and it ranks under a 3, you can definitely buy that. If you go to Whole Foods, there are brands there that I trust. Just use your app, whichever one like you fancy, you can do that. And then for the skin, I really like Eminescence products. They are organic. They use all natural ingredients and they use nourishing ingredients. So my favorite one is the probiotic cleanser by Eminescence, and they have probiotics, and it's a gentle cleanse. A lot of the times, I find that cleansers will either leave you feeling like it stripped everything away and your skin's like dry, or it leaves it feeling like there's still stuff on the skin. And the Eminescence one, it's like it feels clean, but soft and supple and like moisturized and calm. And I have not found any other cleanser that I like more than that one. So you can actually get that on Amazon if you want to do it that way. Easy.
I love
Amazon.
it. I love Amazon. It's so nice when
Mhm.
you go to the store.
Yeah.
That's the best. Shout out to Amazon. Uh, yeah, okay, interesting. I mean, there's so many things with the skin health. I also wanted to bring up the sun. Like,
Yes.
is it good to be out in the sun? Like, tell me about that. Does it cause
Yeah.
wrinkles, skin cancer? Growing up, my dad was always like, dude, you're gonna get skin cancer, bro. Look, I have some skin cancer. Like,
Yeah.
so tell me.
Well, I'm obviously really pale right now, so I don't get a ton of sun, but um I used to tan a lot and like wrinkles and skin cancer, that was a concern for me. And then I would say during COVID, I was reading a lot of studies about vitamin D levels. And I think it was triggered by COVID because they were finding that having sufficient vitamin D levels was linked to quicker recoveries, and people that were deficient were ending up being hospitalized. So people were starting to look at that a lot. And they were saying that you just don't overdo it. So 20, I think 10 or 20 minutes of sunlight we actually need, because we can take vitamin D supplements, but it is not the same. It's just almost incomparable, right? Like the best way to get vitamin D is through the exact source itself, which is the sun, right? So if we stand outside for 20 minutes, and there's an app, and I'll have to find it, so maybe like you can link it or something. But it's an app that based on where you're at, it will tell you the best time to go outside, best time of day for those 20 minutes, that it will be optimal. Because if you do it, let's say late, like at 3 p.m., then you'll need to do like 40 minutes, right? So to keep it in that 20 minute, and you don't want it to be when the sun is also too harsh because then you're going to be like dying out there. It's like a certain time of day that's like optimal for vitamin D absorption, because we do need the sun, but we just don't want to overdo it.
Right, right. I'm sure the app, I'd like to look into that app. And I know the free iPhone app, the weather app, if you click on a certain thing, it'll tell you like the UV index at
Hmm.
how high it is out of 12, at
Hmm.
now what time. But it would be cool to have an app to be like, oh, it's this time, so that means I need this time
Yeah,
here. It's
yeah,
cloudy today. Like, I don't know.
yeah.
That would be interesting. But I got for the first time in my life this past summer, I was tanning hardcore. Like first time ever. I don't know. I would tan almost every day and I got super tan and it was fun. I haven't tanned really at all uh in a minute, but I've always been curious about that, like about the
Did
pro.
you did you feel like more energized? Because like the sun does give energy.
I honestly would feel like I got hit with a little bit of like dopamine or serotonin
Hmm.
in the morning. Like, yeah, we lived on like this little hill and I'd walk down it and then I'd walk up. And the second time I'd walk down it, maybe after 10 or 15 minutes, I'd be like, dang, I feel pretty good. Like, I feel like I woke up,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. No, sun, it like people are like scared of the sun now. It's like we shouldn't be scared of the sun. Like we're creatures of this planet. The sun is what gives us energy and life and light. And so it is important to be mindful of that and try and incorporate it. But like I said, like obviously protect yourself. If you want to avoid wrinkles, you can put like some sunscreen around your eyes or maybe a hat on or something like that.
Okay. And if you don't mind me asking about your transition, right? The transition that you were able to make in your life, the how you reversed your autoimmune disease. Obviously there were the physical benefits to it, right? But what were like the mental, was there any like mental benefits you felt after taking care of your own skin? Like, did you feel more confident? Did you feel like you had more clarity? Did you think better? Like, could you tell me
Yeah.
about that?
Well, the mental thing is a big thing that it affects a lot of people because it's on your face, right? And so a lot of people that come to me are have low self-esteem and low confidence because of that. And
Hmm.
so that is actually one of the things that I enjoy, like seeing that transformation in someone, like going from feeling like they can't even step out of their house without putting 10 pounds of makeup on to cover their skin to like feeling more confident in your skin. And yeah, it affects everything in your life when you can be more confident and comfortable in your own skin. I used to, like when I was dating in the past and I had acne, I would fall asleep if I slept over my boyfriend's house. Like I would not let him see me without makeup. I would fall asleep with makeup. I would wake up before him and go put the makeup back on, like trying to like cover it up. And now, like, I don't have to have makeup on if I don't want to. Like, I can leave the house. And that's a crazy statement for coming from someone who had acne and people who have acne that hear that. It's like, some women do. I mean, some women are actually like, they'll do it, which is great. I personally didn't have that confidence to do that. But now I don't, like my skin is healed and fine. And it's just like a weight off your shoulder when you don't have to constantly think about, is the lighting hitting me in the wrong direction? Or like, should I not go to this social event? A lot of women that I are my clients, like they will say no to dates and social events and they will just stay home because of their acne.
Wow, that must be a struggle. That must
Hmm.
be hard mentally. But with your, transition, like you said, you were able to get confidence and
Hmm.
that's pretty cool. Did you ever th was there ever like a low point when you had the autoimmune disease? Like, did you ever think you'd get to the point where you can be at right now?
No, I was so sick that I had an apartment in Fort Lauderdale and I was in a lease and I got so sick that I couldn't take care of myself. So I was still paying for that apartment, but I had to come back at home and my mom and my like 90-year-old grandma were my caretakers, like my grandma, which that was the weird thing. It's like that shouldn't be the
Be the other way around.
right.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get out of bed for 60 days. I couldn't walk.
What?
So I during that time, I really didn't know, like doctors didn't really know what was going on. I had very little answers. I just knew that I couldn't, I got COVID and that's what triggered everything. But they were like, "Oh, is this long COVID? Like, what's going on with her? Like, why can't she walk?" Like, that was the most bizarre symptom. And I wouldn't I mean it sounds like a low point, I guess, but it mentally I didn't hit a low point. I got really scared at one point thinking like this is it. Like I got 29 years of life and that, that was fun. It was like sayonara. But aside from being scared, I switched it to like I'm gonna heal, I'm gonna get better because when I was scared, I could feel myself getting worse. Like I was like throwing up more, like I was just like really, really going down fast. And I was like, okay, I need to like stay calm because my body will not be able to heal if I do not stay calm. And once I made that switch, um, things started to fall into place. Doctors started to give me answers and give me on the right treatment, and I started to heal. And it was a long healing process. It took me like a year to get back on my feet. And even after a year, I didn't have stamina to do like normal things that normal people could do, like doing laundry or going to the grocery store. And now I can travel. I can, like if someone were to meet me now, they would never know, right? So it is I did come a long way from that point for sure.
What do you feel like was the most crucial thing, like to get through all of that to the point where you couldn't even like barely get out of bed for those 60 days? Was there like a certain philosophy or a certain, I don't know, like something that kept you going through all that to this point?
Yeah, I couldn't get out of bed actually. Like I couldn't like if I did, it would be like I would crawl to the bathroom and then that started being too difficult. So they put like a toilet set up like next to the bed. Like that's how crazy it was. But I think not being able to walk was very eye-opening because I kept looking out of the window and I kept thinking like, oh, if I could just walk again, then I can travel again and I can see my dad again, or I can date again. Like even if I get heartbroken, like all of these things that I used to think about, like I would be putting off, postponing. Yeah, I'll do that later. I'll go see my dad later in Norway because he lives in Norway. I'll start my business later. Um, I'll and then also just like taking for granted like yeah, when you're heartbroken, like that sucks, but being able to have the opportunity to like live and date and fall in love and like all of those things felt like it was taken for I felt like my like what can I can't do anything, right? And so I would give anything to just walk, to just be able to like walk to the grocery store or just to be able to go on that trip and like do those things. And so I think that was um in a sense like motivating because I was like once I heal like life is going to be like a playground, like it's like oh my God I can do all of these things that I took for granted, I guess, like the mundane things too.
Yeah, the small mundane things. Even though it was really hard and the brain doesn't really remember like how hard things were, you know? I mean, they say that trials like make us stronger, afflictions make us stronger. Like, do you feel like this made you stronger in the long run?
Yeah, it definitely changed like my whole perspective of life because I was 20, I think I was 29 at the time.
Mm.
And never in a million years. It was humbling because I didn't think that anything like that would happen to me. I knew I didn't feel good before COVID. Like I knew something was off, but I never in a million years expected something like that. And it was almost like it happened overnight. Like I got COVID and everything went downhill so quickly. It was shocking and humbling. It's like, wow, life can really change like at the drop of a dime. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think it changed for the better. Like it didn't, I don't, I mean, I look back and I think it's bizarre, but I'm not like, oh my God, like why me or, nothing like that. It was like almost like it needed to happen.
Like it needed to happen, kind of.
Mhm.
Gotcha. I mean, so if there's anyone out there in their 20s that maybe they don't, maybe they like are just going through a tough time, they can get out of bed. Like, what
Mhm.
do you have to say to them if they're going through a hard time? Because on this show, what we talk about a lot, and it doesn't really matter. There's been like ex-pro athletes, a lot of entrepreneurs, and whatever. And the philosophy that we've been talking about is just doing the small, mundane, simple things.
Mhm.
sticking to those. And then with time, those remarkable results will come if you just keep doing those small, simple things.
Mhm.
And I guess that would be my piece of advice for anybody who's, younger, doesn't matter how old they are, is if you're going through a tough time, just kind of, I don't know, zoom out and be like, okay, these are the few things I need to do every day, whether it's for my skin
Mhm.
health, for my relationship, whatever. And if you
Mhm.
just like can pick 3 to 5 of those, in my opinion, and keep
Mhm.
them, like I feel like that's kind of my philosophy. Do you have a
Yeah.
philosophy or anything you'd want to tell to anybody?
Yeah. I mean, what helped me during that time and what I think helps ground a lot of people is the gratitude and staying in the present moment. Because if I would have thought about everything I had to do, like, oh my God, I have to like walk again, like learn to walk again, and like, how am I gonna then like get back to normal life and all of these things, like it would have, and because you don't always have answers, right? People want answers all the time. I didn't have answers. Sometimes you're not going to have the answers, right? So you have to just take it hour by hour sometimes. Like this hour, I am getting ready for a doctor's appointment. This hour, I'm seeing the doctor. This hour, we're driving home. This hour, I'm eating my lunch. And also, like you said, like appreciating the mundane. Like if you think about you're drinking a cup of coffee, there's nothing inherently difficult or bad or sad about drinking a cup of coffee, right? Or
Mhm.
going on a walk or taking a phone call, right? Picking up that phone and talking to someone. Um, there's nothing inherently bad in if we stay present in the moment to moment. It's when we start to try and solve everything all at once or go too much in the future that it gets overwhelming and can paralyze us.
That's awesome. I love that so much. So gratitude and being in the present moment is what you'd have to say to people.
Yeah,
And
and just taking it like step by step. Yeah, not trying to figure it all out at once.
and then I guess to end, how would you say one can develop more gratitude? Because for me, I mean, I like the journal method. I try to start my day off by writing 3 things I'm grateful for every day. I for sure skip some days, don't remember
Hmm.
to do it, but I feel like that's a good way to, like through journaling, writing down what you're grateful for can be a really good thing to develop more gratitude. What about, do you have any?
Yeah, I need to start doing that again. I think what my highest level of gratitude was actually during that health crisis because like I said, it made me appreciate the little things so much more. And then as I got better and more back into my normalcy, it's like you start taking things for granted again. But something that I did in high school and that I think I saw it in the book or the movie The Secret, the manifestation book, is like if you take a stone or a rock and you call it your gratitude rock and you stick it in your pocket or your purse, and anytime you accidentally touch it, you say something you're grateful for.
Ooh, that's pretty cool. I'm not Catholic, but my wife is, and we have a bunch of rosaries, and
Mhm.
it's cool. Like rosaries, you can count your blessing too. I sometimes do
Yeah.
it. I have one if I'm on like a sales call or my wife does this, she taught me this, and it's like, I don't know, nobody likes sales calls. They can be stressful, be intense, but
Mhm.
it would like, I don't know, count her blessings and, hold it.
Yeah, that's a good one. I should try that.
Yeah, it's a good one. Because I think if you like really think about it, um, there's studies that if you can link touch with like a certain habit. So you can
Hmm.
touching those things, the surface of it, to
Mhm.
being grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I grew up Catholic and we would do the rosary the old-fashioned way, but as I got older, I haven't stayed in those
Mm,
traditions. So yeah.
yeah. I'm sure there's like I don't know. I feel like us humans, like we're so creative, we can create different things, create different systems.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. And like you said, like create a habit for it. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
Can
well,
do you hear this dog now or no?
no, and the volume's turned up
Oh,
pretty
wow.
good. Here.
Okay,
That's
this
funny
microphone
because
was a good investment. Uh-huh.
yeah, I'll have some people when they like mow the yard or blow the whatever, and
Mhm.
it's like so loud, but then the other person on the call doesn't hear it. I'm like, what the heck? How do you not hear
Amazing.
it?
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a really great episode. Guys, please follow Nicole on Instagram. I'll put her Instagram in the little summary
Yeah.
thing. I
T
learned
Lab
a
Beauty.
lot.
Thank you.
For sure. I learned a lot. I learned so much. Took a bunch of notes. So thank you so much for your time. And I guess the call to action, at the end of each episode today is going to be figure out a way to be present and practice more gratitude and, do the research on the apps we talked about to really make sure your skin products, any type of body wash, have a good score. And what are those apps again, Nicole, besides Yuka or the other?
Think Dirty and EWG. And if anyone has any questions, like they can reach out to me on Instagram. It's tlabbeauty dot or just tlab, and then my website is tlabbeauty.com. But yeah, I'm good at answering DMs. So if anyone wants to reach out, feel free.
Awesome. Yeah, send her a message for any skin or any questions about finding the root cause of anything. So, Nicole, thank you so much for your time once again.